So today I spent all morning in the spa, and then I had a conversation with Donnie, and yes, finally he's got round to actually watching the videos that prove that I'm Christ. He kind of, I think he supports the idea that the child lives with me, but I kind of needed to get his opinion. The social workers know that I think that I'm Christ, and they've seen the videos, and I a lot of people are going to respond differently to them, and it's a very important thing. Why? Because I believe that I want the whole world to see them. His first reaction was that you shouldn't, I would have no chance of getting onto Big Brother if I'm saying this stuff, because it's obvious that I'm not Christ, and it's obviously not the truth, and it's, he doesn't want to get into a debate about it because it's completely pointless, and there's no point of talking about it because you're just one person. Even if you did have a bunch of celebrities backing me up, there's no way anyone's going to take an interest in this. Why? Because 80% of the sort of the public is Christian. Hence, if I'm against Christianity and if I see Jesus as being the Antichrist, 80% of the population isn't going to believe me, and they're not going to listen to anything that I say. But I pointed out that actually, if I'm right about what I believe, I'm going to get like the film and music and industry interested, and I'm going to get them. I indicated that they already know, and I'm pretty sure they do already know, although they haven't actually confirmed this with me. But yeah, I think when I started saying that and started giving evidence, he was just like, "Oh, I don't want to know. It's got nothing to do with me. It's not going to change the world." And I was like, "Well, that is the point. It is going to change the world. Why? Because I can prove Christ's job is to conquer the death, to conquer the grave, to come back to life again, to prove to everyone that they are that person and that they've come back to life. And well, if I can do that, and if I can prove that I am Christ through all the evidence that that is shown in this video, he was saying that you can't be Christ because this is all about you and your religion's all about you. No one's going to take an interest in a religion that's all about you. And it's just like, well, don't they believe that Jesus is Christ because his religion is all about him and his false miracles? So if they believe that Jesus is Christ because the whole religion is about him, why would they not believe that my religion is right because my religion is all about me? If I've got evidence of it, which Jesus doesn't have, a Bible is not evidence that Christ is a real person. It's not evidence that he was a real person. There's no evidence that he was a real person. You don't even know what his surname is, or the year that he was born, or the day that he was born. You know nothing about it. So to think that the Bible is evidence of Christ is just ridiculous. But hey, if I'm come saying that he's the Antichrist, I have real proof because Jesus lie equals 666, and unlike him, you actually know my birthday. You actually know when I was born, what year I was born, who I think I was in my past life, and and I've got evidence of that in her songs and her music. I've got enough to scare the hell out of people, basically. And I just gave him a couple of messages, and yeah, he was like, I'm getting scared. He was getting scared. Of course, he's going to get scared. I think people who are going to be scared are people who are going to be questioning their whole belief system. Like, I don't think he's particularly religious, but I know he has had some involvement with the church, and I think that's going to scare a lot of people. Because a lot of people believe that you're only saved if you worship Christ. Now, if suddenly they're confronted with the fact that they're worshipping the wrong Christ, they're worshipping the Antichrist, and the real Christ is actually someone with completely different views, completely different beliefs, completely different everything, and they've been worshipping the wrong Christ their whole life, it's going to scare the shit out of them, because it's going to be like, well, if you're only saved by worshipping Christ, and what happens if we are worshipping the wrong Christ? That means we're not saved. And I don't know, it's going to scare a lot of people. And so, I kind of told him because I wanted to have a view on what some of the social workers might be thinking, because, if they're confronted with the fact that Christ is here, I am Christ, and what they think that I'm not capable of looking after a baby. It's like, if they don't think that I am Christ, then that's, I guess a lot of people are going to think that, because you have to do lots of research into why I think I'm Christ and stuff. But yeah, a lot of people are stupid, and a lot of people would kind of ignore the intelligence that I have and would just like blank it out and just say, what, this scares me, I don't want to know. And maybe that's what Ian's doing right now. Maybe he's denying the fact that I could actually be Christ, and he would rather just determine me as insane. I know, though, that there might be a court case. There is going to be a court case, and I don't exactly know when it will be, but I know that if Sophie does lose custody, I'm going to have to go through the courts to get it. I'm not going to be able to go through social services. But then again, I also know that social services are not always very good. You know, one of my clients, someone who actually bought me my pink dress on the first day I met him, there was this really nice £45 gorgeous like prom dress that made me look like a princess, the pink one. But he bought me that on the first day. And well, he was brought up in the care system, and he told me sort of loads of horrors of the care system, e.g., how they were just choosing really bad people. Like he was abused basically by his foster parents, and there are loads of really bad foster parents that get chosen to be foster parents, and yet in reality they're just not right at all. And well, I think people would love to believe that social services are doing a much better job. I think they are doing a much better job. But at the same time, if you've looked at me and my situation, and then looked at my mum and her situation, and you still think that my mum is the better guardian than me, why is my mum getting all these assessments to prove that she's sane, to prove that she's healthy? Why are you spending so much effort and focus on my mum, and yet you're not doing any focus or not even communicating or talking to me about anything? The fact that they would consider my mum to be a better carer than me, I feel like shows that they're still way out of proportions on what to do and what's right. And I don't know, this guy's just completely social worker who's supposed to be a social person to e.g. talk to everyone. He's completely ignoring me. I don't know why. I don't know if they all feel that way. They're not responding to me. Or I don't have any contacts of them. I only know Ian's contact. And I feel like he is unfairly judging me because of my religion. And that's the thing about Christians or religious people, is that they believe that their view is right. Now, if someone comes challenging their view, their beliefs, they're not going to like that person. They're going to see that person as an enemy because of personal connections that they have to their own religion. If I'm saying that I'm the real Christ and they don't believe that's the truth, then they could easily turn on me and say that I'm unsuitable to look after this kid because of this, that, and the other. But in reality, it's like, I'm not insane. If you want to try and prove that, you have to actually prove it. And therefore, I don't know. I know that I have to go through the courts to try and get access if my sister loses this child. And I feel like they're not helping me in any way, because it's been months. It's now like, I don't know what day it is, but it's middle of April and the baby was born March 7th. So it's been over, it's been about 6 weeks. Maybe, no, it's not 6 weeks. Yeah, I'm sure it's about 5 weeks. It's been 5 weeks, and this guy is not giving me any information about anything. So I feel, like I don't know what's happening. And if they think that my mum is the better guardian, why are you not telling me what the reasons why? You can't just say because of my YouTube videos or because I think that I'm Christ. I mean, reality is I am Christ. And yeah, I don't know what they're thinking, but if they're thinking similar things to what Donnie is thinking, then yeah, they're probably just getting freaked out of their mind, and they would rather just assume that I'm crazy. Why? Because if I'm right about my religion, then they're the ones that are crazy for worshipping the Bible and not seeing the faults in it and stuff. But yeah, it is a spiritual war that I'm in. And it is reminding me of this Travelers film. I think I watched 11 episodes yesterday, so I was just watching that all day, basically. My Gumtree ad's down, so I'm not really getting much work, which is good. I don't really want much work, but yeah, I feel like in the Travelers film, it's all about these people from the future who come back as soon as a person dies. They come back time and start, save that body and continue living in that person's body. But yeah, the original soul that was in that body has died. And basically there's kind of like it's almost like a war going on between the people who know the future and the people who don't know the future. And I feel like I'm kind of in this sort of battle where I've got the people who know the future and know that Christianity is about to die because the real Christ is here. And then I've got the people who don't know, aren't able to accept it, probably would get freaked out of the mind, thought that that the world has been worshipping the Antichrist the whole time. And yeah, it's I don't care what they think about me, because at the end of the day, I know that I'm right, and I know that even if I don't gain custody of this child because they try to deem me insane or whatever, they're not on my side, and I've got more important things to think about than one child. But yeah, it is very annoying because I would love to have this child in my care. But hey, if the child doesn't go to me, and if it does go to a foster parent to be brought up with strangers, I'm only going to use this against the social services as evidence that they're still messing up and are doing things wrong, like they were doing in the past. I mean, I've heard the news reports about what they were doing 150 years ago, taking babies forcibly away from mothers who were either single or just young or just not in the right. They would forcibly take these children away from them, forcibly adopt them, and against the mother's will. I mean, I think that's absolutely crazy to adopt kids into families, knowing that the mother's not agreeing to any of this and stuff. Okay, I understand after seeing Sophie that sometimes mothers are not very good at understanding risks and stuff like this. So there are loads of people in the world that can't really look after themselves very well, and therefore looking after a baby is going to be a challenge for them. So it's complicated what is best to do. But yeah, if you've got family relatives that are capable, that are sane, that and you're not considering them, I feel like that's just a complete false. It's a complete failure on the social services, the fact that they would do that. So if they do that, okay, all right, but I'm going to hold it against you. And I don't know when I'm going to be exposed as Christ, and I don't know if it's going to be in my lifetime, because I also know that the second I am exposed as being the true Christ, there's going to be a lot of people around the world who want me dead. Why? Because it is a proper spiritual war. There are so many people that would die for Jesus. And if killing me means that Jesus gets to live, or in their mind live, this imaginary figure that exists only in a book, if killing me means that this imaginary figure gets to continue being worshipped, there are so many people that are going to go for this. I mean, really, Jesus actually just represents everyone on earth. And therefore, if you think Jesus is God, it's basically just code for you think man is God, and you worship man's religion and man's beliefs and man's just everything. I'm completely against Christianity. And I don't care who knows that, because at the end of the day, I believe that I inspired the Bible. I inspired this religion to attract people that are sick, basically. And if people that worship this religion don't believe that they're sick, well, I have evidence to show that. But yes, me showing that is going to cause a lot of problems, because they're going to hate me for showing their sickness. And I understand that if I am exposed as Christ during my lifetime, I'm probably going to have to go into hiding for a very long time. So it's awful that I have to have people ignore me for 10 years, but at the same time, it's because I know there's a whole bunch of people that know. I've seen so much evidence. I listened to the Dark Horse song and the Trouble song, "Oh, I Knew You Were Trouble" by Taylor Swift, and I feel so empowered when I listen to this song. And look what you made me do, look what you made me do. It's about me coming back to life and me giving a message to the people about how much I hate them. When I listen to these songs, I feel so empowered. And then when I think about the social services and how they're treating me, and how they're, or Ian, I'm not going to call it social service because it's not them, but when I'm thinking about how angry I was at the way he spoke to me on the phone was just so disgusting. It was just like, I had no respect for you. I'm not listening to your videos. I don't care. And then he hung the phone up on me. It was quite harsh. And if I'm a normal person and I'm wrong about everything, fine. But if I'm really Christ, I told you that I'm Christ. I've given you the evidence. I've told you. And yeah, I know it's not about my religion. That's what Johnny says. It's not about your religion. Don't talk about your religion. It's like, it's about the baby. Yeah, it's not about my religion. But at the end of the day, my religion is going to change the world. And yeah, whatever evidence they have to believe that I have no ability to look after a baby, well, it's bullshit, because they've not even seen me with a child. And yeah, I think you need to put a stop to judging people about their ability to look after a kid without seeing them, because that is how you end up with problems like the client that I had, who was raised in foster care, who has had lots of abusive foster parents because of bad judgments on reports probably done by people who didn't know the truth, couldn't see the difference between good parents and bad parents, and couldn't see the difference between someone that can actually teach someone something and someone who's, my mum knows nothing, literally. My mum knows nothing. And it's just really strange. All the things that they said against me, it's just like, this is so accurate towards my mum. And yet my mum, I haven't seen her report. But yeah, it's just like, what is going on if you think that this is about me, and that I don't understand, I can't work out what the needs of a child are. It's just like, what? What? I can't keep children safe. You know what? You are my children. The world is my child. And if you think my ability to look after a child is 3 out of 10, I really hope that you are talking about yourself, because you are my child and I don't want to keep you safe if you're going to be judging me in this way. And yeah, I don't know. I have a lot of anger issues, yes, but just because someone has anger issues, that doesn't mean they're not capable of looking after a child and keeping them safe and raising them. And just yeah, I don't know. I don't know what will happen. I don't know if this child will end up in foster care, but I know that if the child does end up in foster care, it's going to look bad on social services for not for not helping me or working with me. Anyway.